The Deception of Femininity and Colleen Ballinger. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video, guys. And I've spoken about the deception of femininity a few times. We're going to delve into that in just a moment. And I'm going to tell you guys the real point of what I'm trying to say at the end of the video, because I want to build up with you guys the conclusions I've come to, because as somebody on YouTube, I think I'm one of the people, or the few people, who actually consumed some version of her content for an extended period of time. So for myself, I watched her whole journey with her pregnancy. I believe it was with her twins. Yes, with her twins. And I watched her whole pregnancy journey. You guys will know I love pregnancy content on YouTube, right? So I watched all of that, and so I was able to gain a perspective, not just from the stuff that people are saying about her or have said, but from my own personal opinion. And personally, with my personal opinion, Miranda Sings was never a type of character that I was interested in. But, you know, I've always been happy for somebody that is working hard for whatever they have, and whatever they have, you know what I mean? Whether it's they work hard and for the family that they have, and, you know, where they work in a local shop or something, whether it's that they work hard as a, you know, in an office every day, or in construction, which is one of my favorites, you guys know, or if they have a business. I'm happy for everybody, realistically. So I was just curious, from my perspective, to see what it looked like for her lifestyle in her career to be a mother. That's why I was watching her content. And this is all going to become very important, so just stick with me with where I'm going, because I'm going to say stuff that I've kind of kept to myself this whole time, because I don't like to just, I'm not a tea channel. I don't just say stuff to like be like, this is the tea. I say stuff with a purpose, with a reason, and hopefully with a lesson for us all. So anyways, so I saw her content, and I liked the fact that as a traveling, touring performer, in her case comedian, she prioritized motherhood to the extent that in a lot of her videos that I watched, she would literally be spending the whole day with her son Flynn, looking after him, even prioritizing, you know, her husband's job. And then when he would come back from work or whatever, she would do, once Flynn was in bed, once she was done with that, she would do her other personal work tasks. She would bring her babies with her wherever she was going for work. And so I respected her hustle. She didn't give up on motherhood or her career, which I highly respect. But here's the thing that I did notice while watching her videos. Her inappropriate relationships with children, particularly Jojo Siwa, was one that stood out to me, because for Jojo Siwa and also some other famous younger people there who are now of age, right? There was a period where a lot of adults were like friends and collaborating with these underage, and when I say underage in this video, I'm specifically referring to under 18, for the purposes of making a point without going all the way off the rails. But anyway, so under 18s. There was a lot of instances of a lot of people, a lot of adults, and including, and this is the key part, because Colleen Ballinger is older than me. She's now, I think she's actually 10 years older than me, if I'm not mistaken. So I noticed that, and I noticed that the way that she was interacting with like Jojo Siwa, the way that she was interacting with younger people was, in my opinion, as an educator, I teach children, and I also have worked with children. I've done youth work. A lot of my working, not most, but a lot of, because I've done entertainment and whatever, but has been around children. And also I have my own experiences, just to touch on, you know, something like what Trisha Paytas said. And Trisha Paytas, again, sorry guys, my throat hurts so much, I'm not well. Trisha Paytas, like me, has experienced inappropriate relationships with older people, and not necessarily sexual, and this is very important. So I share the same trauma as Trisha, as far as I have very strict boundaries with younger people in my life based on how I know the inappropriate interactions I've had in my life have affected me. And so I'll give you guys a very, very simple example of a recent situation or something that actually happened. So I went to a shop near where I live, which is like 10 minutes walk from where I live. And I bumped into a guy that I knew. And when I knew him, I was 13, he was 18. And at the time, he was one of those dudes, which this happened to me a lot on social media, being unsupervised and all that type of thing. Him and other guys, there was also a guy at some point when I was 16 who was 21. Like, these things have happened to me, these with guys, but also with adults. But the adult portion is not for this stage of my YouTube channel, but we'll talk about that eventually. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. So I know the feeling of, like, when I bumped into this gentleman, the one I knew from when he was 18, I was 13, as an adult, and I looked at him and he was like kind of happy to see me, and I was looking back at him like, I'm a grown enough woman now, and it's been a long time since I've seen him, like years and years and years since I've seen him. I was like, I'm now a grown woman, and like, I'm uncomfortable to see you like as a predator. But as a child, all of this, like, oh yeah, you're mature for your age, which is what people say to me even now. It's one of the reasons I hate when people say that to me. That's what happens with groomers, guys. And that's what people don't realize. And the deception of femininity is that people generally trust us as women because we are supposed to be the ideal version of what we call motherly, nurturing, whatever, loving, that we all see in our minds. But the reality is there are a lot of women who are not like that, and they get away with it because we buy into that. And Colleen Ballinger is a result of that, because the reason why I mentioned all these people on TikTok who I didn't support before is because I'm not going to be a part of the problem. I'm not going to support behaviors of underage people. Charlie D'Amelio was a big one. Why do I... Oh my gosh, I'm not feeling well, guys. I'm so sorry. Like, this is so annoying. I really am not feeling well at all. I'm trying to make this video. Charlie D'Amelio, when she was wildly famous, was underage. And that's why, even though as a dance teacher, as a choreographer myself, when people were saying to me, oh, you should jump on on TikTok, you should do this to like be successful. I can't tell you how many people told me I should do that when TikTok was blowing up because of dance videos. And the thing that bothered me the most was that, why is it that underage people are making inappropriate videos and adults are copying and praising that type of behavior? Especially when these same adults are the same people who have everything to say about the younger generations, or the younger generations of today are like this. I know because I hear this all the time. In fact, in my job the other day, so I was with, now in this job, I'm responsible for some level of care. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want it to be really personal, but some level of care and or teaching of these specific 4 children who are different ages, aging from the youngest being, wait, is it 4? No, 3 children, mainly. The youngest being 20 months, the oldest being 9 years old, okay? And I was speaking to the father, and he was talking about his experience about stuff, which I'm not going to get into. And then he asked me a question. He was like, have you even ever bothered to thank your mother or you for what she's done? He asks me. And it was an extremely painful question to have been asked, because the main reason, and one of the biggest reasons that I was in this job, is because I have a true appreciation for the fact that there is such hard work that goes into being a parent. It is the hardest job. And that's why I value success as a parent more than I do success in a career. And I've had more success than people 3 times my age in my career already. And so for him to ask me if I've ever said thank you, and I have said thank you to my mum so often. She is literally the person who I love so dearly, but is like one of the most heinous enemies in my life, right? And so for him to ask me that question was just like, you guys have everything negative to say about the younger generations. And yet Colleen Ballinger is growing up your younger generations because you have an excuse. You are a parent. Yes, we who have received whatever we've received, whatever that person does, will be appreciative. But if we don't pay attention as adults to things that are happening, even my own mum was shocked when I told her for the first time within the last year about all of this, these guys who were talking. She was like, really? I never knew that. And I was like, yeah, of course you didn't. And that's why I want to talk about Colleen Ballinger. It didn't take, I don't have kids, okay? I see what I see and I call it how I see it and how it is. I could see her relationship with children was inappropriate. And for me, it was like an extension of my already frustration with us as adults. And I include myself because I'm an adult now as well, who sit back and don't do anything, who judge, who comment, who talk down on whatever generation, right? And then children who scientifically, as a scientist, you guys will know because my last video, I believe before this one is, I said I'm a scientist, have chosen not to take the position as mentors, elders, leaders, right? And then we comment, and then we see people like Colleen Ballinger, and let me tell you why this is a problem for me. Because the people like Colleen Ballinger, right? One of the young men who came out was called Adam McIntyre. And I respect him. He came out about her some years ago and nobody believed him. Why? Because of something that somebody said under one of his videos, which was, it's crazy when you live in a world where adults have all the understanding, but kids are expected to be adults. And that's the exact sentiment that I share. That people, when Adam McIntyre, who was underage before, is now an adult, like 20 or something, now people are acknowledging him because of the receipts. But then as a kid, people are expecting a child to have an understanding for an adult, whilst the adult gets given the grace, the understanding that is deserving of a child, and the adult is getting given excuses. And that's what's crazy about it for me. And so when I look at Colleen Ballinger, I think this was so obvious. It's the same thing. Somebody just pointed out how Shane Dawson now has his fan group has continued. This man talked about doing inappropriate things, not just with underage people and animals, and is thriving on YouTube. And me, who has 510 subscribers, and trying to say, guys, be forgiving, have love, have understanding. I'm getting community guideline strikes every couple of months at like not even 1,000 subscribers. And that's what makes me realize that this is the world we live in, guys. Like, it's stupid when people say, oh, people should have known about Colleen. And that's why I get annoyed at these tea channels, because as soon as it's tea, now you're talking about it and you sit there with your high horse acting like you gave a single damn about any of those children until the story was blowing up so that you have the opportunity to blow up. But when the signs were in front of your face, when the situation was that you said nothing, you did nothing. Adam McIntyre even said it, right? I have reasons why I can justify Trisha's reaction. But even Adam McIntyre said, you didn't say anything, I told you everything. You're only acknowledging me now. Now that things are blown up and I'm still blocked on Twitter. We as adults continually sit there and see the signs of what is causing destruction in this society and do nothing about it. And then when people like Colleen Ballinger come around, who we supported, who has a Netflix show, who's so popular on YouTube, do this stuff, we let them get away with it by our actions. It doesn't matter how you think or feel. You did what you did, and you supported what you supported, or you ignored what you did. The main reason I downloaded TikTok in the first place was because my youngest brother, who's 13, had TikTok. This is like 2 years ago. So I was like 24, he was like 11. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to stand before God one day and I didn't download TikTok and work out how it works and subscribe to my brother and watch his TikToks. And I talk to him about the TikToks he watches for him to just be influenced by the world. And as a teacher, I'll finish here. I can tell you that my observation of having actually worked with hundreds of kids, what's going on at home directly affects us for the rest of our lives. Most people are in therapy because of what? Their childhood. If your child is going through trauma at home, they don't want to listen in class, not because they're stupid, because who cares about maths or science or any other subject when they are going through trauma? And they regurgitate and repeat and imitate what their parents do, whether they know why or not. Or their other sources of influence, which includes the kids at school and everything online. And so the more you as a parent act like you can't control those things, the more those kids become affected. That's not me judging anybody. That's a genuine observation as a teacher. And somebody who's worked with kids and somehow always finds myself working with children. So I worked with hundreds of kids. And it's the same story. Always. Always the same story. And it taught me that us as a society have to put ourselves in the position where we actually take the position as elders and wiser people. The reason why we're supposed to respect elders, I was explaining this to a child the other day, is because they've lived longer. They have greater wisdom. We show them respect because there is valuable information they have to give us. And we respect them for it. I just thought Avatar, and I think it was, Zuko's grandfather. Right? They share their wisdom with us because they have wisdom and they're the people we're entrusting to tell us how to live well or better. And that's when I realized that the real parents out there, who are the true parents and the true adults, are the ones who want the next generation to achieve greater than they have. It's like Shanks and Luffy in the first or the first couple episodes of One Piece. If you've seen it, you'll get what I'm talking about. And so when I see people like Colleen Ballinger, I don't think about what she did because I believe and I know because I live in the real world that people like her exist. I think we as a society have to do better. And I really love my youngest brother's school he goes to. He doesn't like the school, but one thing I liked about the school that they did is they coached these young people about predators online and how they approach you. And they told them about the laws and everything so they could prepare themselves. And I respect that because we can't do everything about everything. We can't stop everything. Being a parent is the hardest job you can ever have, right, in life, right? And being a teacher today is becoming more and more like being a parent. That's why teachers are leaving teaching, because they ain't paid enough and they didn't bring that child out of their womb to go through all of that just for the parent to say, oh, whatever, let's make an excuse for the adults and then add layers and weight to the younger generations. And so for Colleen, that's how I feel. She is problematic. She has been. The signs have been there. Nobody wanted to see it. People wanted to see her for the best. Then when the young people speak up, we question them. We put pressure on them to prove this, that, and the other. And then we sit here and we sit on our high horses acting like we were allies all along. Like we were even the people those young people could have come to talk about this stuff when we don't and we weren't. And just because our lives may be better or worse in the past than theirs for whatever reason, does not negate the opportunity and the deservingness for them to be able to be seen, heard, understood, and believed. And if they were, And if they were paid attention to, these things wouldn't happen. Because I'm not looking forward to, but I'm looking towards the future and knowing that in about 10 years, there's going to be a bunch of kids who have the revelation that I have and Trisha Paytas have of what it actually meant for people to treat you in a way and to groom you allegedly, for how they behaved, when the results of that show themselves in real life. And I know this world we live in will just say, oh, we all went through hell, who cares? Blah, blah, blah. And then we'll try and act like we're these good people who care about kids, who care about children, who care about their future. When we clearly don't, because if we did, we would behave differently. We would behave completely differently, but we don't think about that. We just think about whatever, because let's have all the understanding for the adults, but the kids, oh, they need to be perfect. And none of us are taking accountability for them getting there, but they have to be. That's what's crazy. And no one's saying that if you take accountability, you're held up. I truly believe that your best is God's best. Whatever your best is, God knew what your best was, and he knew that it would be exactly what it needed to be. So it's not about judgment, but it's about like accountability. Like, we as the adults, we have all these extra laws, these extra opportunities. We can vote, we can do all these things. We look at people like Colleen Ballinger, we have all these judgment, but we are the people who create a society and allow society where people can get away with stuff like that. And she's literally the tip of the iceberg. Anyways, if you guys want me to get more into this, I can, because there's lots of stuff that I know about this. I'm super passionate about this. It's probably one of the topics I'm the most passionate about in the world, because I look at the younger generations and I think, me as a 26-year-old person, I'm going to be in a very important place and position at some point in my life that's going to affect the younger generations right now. And I don't take that lightly, because I will create the world they will live in. Me. And so I can't judge them for their response when I don't take accountability and responsibility for the fact that I right now have an impact on their future. And that's what nobody's talking about with this Colleen Ballinger situation. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe, because if life's a game, then let's play to win. God bless every single one of you guys watching. Sorry I'm a bit disheveled, but I'm a bit sick and just not in a great place, but I really wanted to film. So God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.